You know, sometimes when you want to liberate these Africans, they will start by attacking you because they want to stay in the comfort zone. I tell you, if we continue on this path, the next 5 years, I tell you that the people who are unemployed right now, the figure will be double.
What I think Trump was trying to put his foot down to show these other countries to say America is a great nation and we're not here to play. In some sense, the message was heard and it was bold, but in some sense, it was also a shot in their own foot, especially with China.
If you abolish these weekends and holidays, I even wonder who said Saturday and Sunday.
Greetings and welcome back to the podcast, the very interesting podcast.
Also,
yes, we transitioned from different names and all, but the conversations remain the same. We are always talking about business and entrepreneurship in Africa particularly. So my name is Steve, and as always, I'm joined by the chartered vendor.
How are you doing, Steve?
I'm okay. It's been a minute.
It's good to have you back.
I don't remember the last time we recorded an
Captain
episode
Steve.
Oh yes, so they used to call me.
Why are you no longer calling yourself Captain Steve?
Because I'm no longer on radio and I'm no longer on TV, but I'm considering going back to do radio.
Okay, why?
Yes. So with radio, remember I was doing the business program, the Business Alley. So I'm actually realizing that with that platform, I had given a lot of entrepreneurs a voice, different markets, different industries a voice. But then when I distance myself from that space, it's almost like that platform disappeared. Yes.
Why can't you give them space here?
Yeah, absolutely we can. But I think we'd need to create a dedicated segment for them because there are so many of them.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. What about, right, if it's not only about us speaking?
Yeah.
What about bringing people with different views? People are doing very well. People are starting.
Can I suggest a different approach to it altogether? I've realized something. They are the legends or the big guys who have grown, who have a track record.
Guys,
yes. And then there are guys who have untold stories, who are down there.
And most of their stories are actually fascinating.
They're not so big enough for people to pay attention, but they're doing something.
They're doing something.
So why don't we, for a change, call for applications where we just say, people, just come, you can give us half a page, tell us your story. And then if
whether
it's
a farmer,
yes,
vendor,
wherever you are,
whatever story,
we'll host you on this podcast. If we think your story is inspiring and there's a lot to learn, which leads me to one of the most important things that we are going to be doing this year, which is the launch of a brand new book, The Reasons Why African Businesses Die Young. So looking into the concept that we just discussed of getting stories, you realize that there are much more mistakes being committed by the entrepreneurs that are down there than the ones that are up there. The ones that are up there, they've done the mistakes,
and
they've already corrected. Yes. But the ones that are down there, they're still making those mistakes on a daily basis.
And they don't know what's hitting.
Exactly. So I think it would be a very interesting build up to the launch of the book if we could have those entrepreneurs, they come and then they tell us how they're operating. This one. This one. And then we get to share the experiences and then we iron out the mistakes until the book is launched, and then people can read it for themselves.
What about even if you can have even a life could, like, also probably someone is coming here, they're making mistakes in their company, try also to coach them, help them through
live. We can do that. I think that would be exciting, dealing with real life situations as opposed to the assimilated ones. Let's get the real stories, someone telling their story in real time, and then we proffer a solution in real time, and then we can obviously have some follow-up. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's something that you can expect on this podcast. And remember, a book is coming, Why African Businesses Die Young. And believe you me, like always, I'm the one who edited that book. I was seeing a lot of stories, blunders that I've also made myself in my business. And I believe that most of the entrepreneurs, they are making either one or a dozen of those mistakes. And mistakes are a way to learn. So don't be shy about it. Come through, we can have a conversation and others can learn as well as yourself learn from the mistakes. But anyway, it's been an interesting year. 2025. I think we haven't sat down for 2025, have we?
Yeah,
No, we
yeah,
haven't.
yeah.
So there's a lot that happened. I don't even know where to start.
A lot.
I think a very interesting one. Your favorite president, Donald Trump. I would like to look into the tariff conversation. You know, there was a time, I don't know, some were saying he's losing his marbles. Of course, from the far left, they were saying he's losing his marbles. And then those in his camp were saying, no, the president is right. But anyway, Trump went on a spree where he was just pulling out a joke to different countries to say, we are tariffing you 45%, 25, 38, 68, 112. You know, all of that. It was happening. China, yeah. So there were so many reactions, mixed reactions, as far as the tariff issue. Some of it extended into the funding issue where they withheld funding by certain organizations. There were reactions to that. So looking at that dynamic, as a business person, we are dealing with platforms that we use that are from America. Were we affected? Do you recall any incident where you were directly affected by the tariffs?
Personally, no, but I know many of my clients are actually affected, because you look at one of my big clients is into fuel. Probably are looking at 15% of their business was actually coming from NGOs. So when the NGOs were hit, he was also affected. Hit. Definitely to have a negative impact on me as well. Indirectly, because probably if you were supposed to pay me 20,000 consultants fees, it's
the invoice is getting choked.
Yes, because it's saying no, things are hard.
Yeah.
Or probably it also poses an opportunity whereby also these entrepreneurs are now also looking for solutions somewhere else.
No, that's an interesting dynamic. I didn't actually look into it from that perspective. It was really, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so remember there was I know even of an accounting firm which only does accounts and audits for NGOs.
I can imagine.
And this has never happened.
It's the first time
it's the first time to have.
And we actually thought it would never happen.
Yeah. And quite also even through our MNJ HR, I think if we interview 20 people, 3 of them are actually coming from NGOs.
The NGO sector. Yeah, and I would like to believe that there are a lot of people who lost their jobs.
Plenty, young and old.
You know, I saw a joke that said, these are the negative impacts of nepotism. Now you have a whole family that's sitting at home. You know, when people hire, they get their family members.
Exactly. So you've got your family members in one company.
The whole family is now at home. And then there's another one. There's an interesting build-up as well for the local economy. Before we go to the local economy.
What do you think about the tariffs?
Well, the tariffs, they are very interesting for the US because they sort of, what I think Trump was trying to put his foot down to show these other countries, to say America is a great nation and we're not here to play. So in some sense, the message was heard and it was bold, but in some sense, it was also a shot in their own foot, especially with China. Yeah. You know, I would like to bring into perspective a very interesting dynamic. You know, the Chinese have mastered the technology of propulsion. And then the Americans have mastered the technology of instrumentation and control. So you realize that ever since there's been a tension between China and America, China is not doing so well with its instrumentation technology. America is not doing so well with its propulsion. I don't remember the last time when even SpaceX was able to successfully launch any one of their vessels. Because the Chinese are the ones who are so good with that propulsion technology. But then the Americans, they're good with the instrumentation technology. So in a sense...
And the same propulsion for the sake of other guys, what does it mean?
Okay, so basically when we talk of propulsion, it's the technology that allows ignition of those tubes or whatever, like, that allow the rockets to then...
Rockets, yeah.
Yes. So propulsion technology is not only used in rockets, it's also used in weapons, your missiles. That's why, I don't know if you've heard this, but it is believed that China has got a missile that is so fast that it can actually hit on a country before their missile detection systems detect that there's an incoming missile. That's how fast it is, and that's how good their propulsion is. So China and America are not in talking terms at the moment. So I feel like if you look at the trade dynamics between China and America, for example, let's talk about Apple. Apple is it's an American native company, but their manufacturing was being done in China.
Still being done there.
Yes, but then they moved it to India.
Like they wanted to move it to India.
What happened?
There's still a debate.
It's
I was
still-
actually
it's still a
checking on
conversation.
it today. There's still a debate because definitely moving an iPhone from China, it will be very expensive.
Yes, because you know why it's cheaper for them to manufacture in China. The labor market for China
It's cheap.
is very big, and so it's cheap. So, and also labor laws in China, not so existent. I think that's why they behave like barbarics when they come here and they've got Zimbabwean employees. The kind of treatment that they give our employees, our natives, is leaves a lot to be desired. But anyway, so you realize
Isn't it
that
what make them great?
well, it might be, but you know, there's
Because,
a
there was
there's a
someone-
certain level
you know,
of treatment you expect
almost
a human
the-
being to get.
Almost half of the Zimbabwean business people were at the Canton Fair. So I was just talking to this other guy who was saying in China, people, they do 12-hour shifts.
I think it's because of their population. Their population size is so big that humans are as disposable as shoes. I was told that, you know, at a construction site, a person can just fall off the scaffolding, hit the ground, they're dead. They don't close the day to mourn this one like we do here in Africa. They continue working. They just call an ambulance to drag the body off the site, and they continue working.
Is it good or bad?
In Zimbabwe, if a person dies at work, you are guaranteed that that project is going to stop for at least a week, as these guys are paying homage to the deceased one. So imagine if you have 3 incidences at a site.
It's a problem.
It delays a project. We actually witnessed the same thing when, remember the Trababilas intersection? The crane operator, I don't know what they did, it fell and one person died. They literally had to stop all the works, attend the funerals and whatnot. But the Chinese, they'll continue working. So in a sense, there's a bit of sense to it though, to say, no, you will leave your family to mourn you. We are your workplace. You will continue working. Because we've got targets. The client is not going to understand that your building is late by a week.
Because there's a guy who is dead.
Yes. We might send something as a token for to show our bereavement that we've lost a co-worker, but we don't stop the project. In Zimbabwe, there is an email to all stakeholders. No, due to the death of one of the construction workers, we are not able to. We are actually closed for my beloved Africa. My beloved Africa. No, it speaks a lot into what you've always been chanting about, and I know you get a lot of backlash for
I get
that.
a lot of backlash because to me, when I look at the Chinese, I look at I personally think that when Donald Trump came in, he wanted to slow down. The tariffs are not targeted I believe that not all countries were targeted. The main country which was targeted by Trump was China. Why China? Because China is about to overtake America. So he wanted to slow them.
Okay.
He wanted to slow their growth. So he thought that by actually increasing tariffs is going to slow their growth. Because if you notice right now, Trump no longer gives a damn about your internal politics.
Yeah.
If you notice, the foreign policy of America was they get into a country, sponsor a lot of NGOs, try to do a regime change in those countries, get in control of minerals, etc., then control of power, minerals, or the economy. But that card no longer works. They notice that Chinese, they don't care. Chinese, what they do is, if right now, if you're going to remove a president in Zambia, they don't care about the president. They'll continue with their dues.
Yes.
They don't care about who is governing. They'll just give you loan. They don't care if you support China, if you support America. What they care about is their own interests only.
True.
I heard that in this other joke. Americans wanted to print 100,000 T-shirts written more tariffs to China and don't purchase Chinese goods.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Chinese, they said, no, you can bring the order, we can print it in China.
Also, the order was fulfilled in China.
Yeah, in China, 100,000 T-shirts.
But you know, when Trump started doing all he was doing, he got some backlash with our own locals who were feeling entitled. That why was he pulling the funding? Does he know the dozen amount of people that he has hurt or disturbed communities, families, and all? But the question still remains: is Africa a part of America?
No.
So if Africa is not part of America, you know, you can't complain to the next door father for not paying fees for your kids.
It's just taking what belongs to you.
Yes. You know, I was actually reading a book. There's a book that I was reading. I'm not done yet. I'm a slow reader because I consume the details and meditate too much. So there's a book called The Economic Hitman by John Perkins, I think. So he was saying back then you'd be sent on missions as an economic hitman. So what he was going to do was to look into countries that might have natural resources of interest to the Americans. So what they then do is he's supposed to talk to the leadership, convince them that they need debt. So they go back if they believe that they need debt to, like, for example, let me use Zimbabwe as an example. We have recently discovered gazillions of lithium. So they'll come and then say, no, for your lithium, we can set up a processing plant here so that you make the batteries and import the battery and export the batteries, etc. And then our leadership buys into that. Then they'll go to these world financial institutions like your World Bank, and then they secure funding for us. But then the money is not coming to us. It funds the American companies that are coming to set up that infrastructure. And the reason why they were calling it an economic hitman was because they would make sure that the debt is so much that we can't possibly pay it back.
We won't pay it back.
So when we fail to pay back, they'll say, look, you are clearly not able to clear your debt. So give us a sweet portion of this lithium to assist you to pay back the debt. But then if you look at where the money was spent, it was spent on the American corporations building up and setting up the infrastructure for them to milk our lithium away. So I found that to be very interesting. And I think I think Trump is trying to bring back that mindset one more time.
Yeah, because the issue is all about, like if you look at the Americans, what they just want to do is to say they want to control the world. They want to be dominant.
Yeah.
They want to be the dominant force. They want to remove all these, what's that currency? It's called BRICS currency.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that all these countries are going to be to kneel and pray to America. But right now the dynamics of the world have changed. Because all these guys were busy with funding. Because China doesn't fund anything. China doesn't do donors. China doesn't give money for free.
Yes.
Are you hearing
There's always a
I've
price
never
to
had
pay.
an NGO which is sponsored by China.
China aid.
No freebies. China, they just say, work.
Yes.
Exactly. There's no. If you're going to hear that, no, this demo was sponsored by China, it's a lie. It's a loan.
What about the revamping of Wange, the addition of units? Those.
So do you think it's free? What
about the parliament?
Do you think it's free?
What about the
Do you
parliament?
think it's free?
But let's end on that note and take a short break.
Do you think Chinese, they don't give me?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this podcast, we are going to be back after a short break. Please brace in your seats and enjoy. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and share the video so that at least your relatives and your friends can share in the conversation and interact with us in our comment section. It really helps to push these videos and make them known by everybody out there.
The chartered vendor, chartered, it simply means the experience which I got from the workplace and through formal education. Vendor, it simply means that I was once a vendor selling sweets, selling bananas on the streets. Combined, it makes the chartered vendor. Many people complain, they think that you need monetary capital to start a business. Contrary to that, I only started my business with only a laptop. If you want to know more about my story, grab your copy today.
Want to open a business in Zambia? Here is what you need to know. You have two options: a limited liability company offering 100% ownership with a Zambian resident director, or a foreign company allowing expansion while keeping your original structure with at least one director required. To register, reserve your business name with PACRA, submit your incorporation documents, register for tax with ZRA, and open a corporate bank account. Zambia is open for investment. Need assistance? Contact us and get started with M&J, building timeless businesses.
All right, welcome back. This is still the Chatted Vendor, and we are having a conversation about everything related to business and entrepreneurship. And remember, we may sound like we are going astray, but believe you me, as a business analysis too, there's SWOT analysis where you're looking for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Yes. And then there's Pastel, which is entirely dedicated to understanding the external environment. But some of these dynamics, they really affect the way businesses operate. So
like what you're actually rightfully saying, there's someone who didn't follow, whether they like it or not,
yes,
politics end up also affects economy.
Yes.
So
yes,
if you look at these things, if you don't know where the politics is also going.
Very true. I've actually heard a very famous professor say the economy is run by politicians taking advice from economists, and then the businesses suffer the impact.
Exactly.
So whether you like it or not, you're already in politics by virtue of you trying to work around an environment that has been created by politicians.
Like right now it's said, I've consulted a lot of companies which I thought they were doing well, but most of them, they're failing to pay salaries.
That's sad. That's sad.
Some have even resorted to short times, working for 3 weeks, working for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks on,
the other
2 weeks off.
Yeah, big companies.
That's interesting.
And the companies which have been in the business for more than 20 years, they are suffering.
Yeah, I saw also an updated list of companies that have gone under corporate rescue in Zimbabwe, and it's quite interesting and it's quite sad.
Yeah, but unfortunately now, that's why now I support the Chinese way of working. Because if we're working, like right now, yes, you can work 8 hours when the economy is normal.
Yeah.
Everything is okay. Your souls are coming, money is circulating, everything is okay. But when things are hard, it means the employer and the employee, everyone is supposed to now even double the effort.
Yes.
Probably for the same amount of water, the amount of effort I'm now putting to get this water.
It must be different. It must be different.
But if we are going to make this company sustainable, everyone is supposed to really understand, and that's why now I now support the Chinese that no, let us now throw all these so-called labor laws, etc. Because at the end of the day, we can choose to vote for the labor laws, but at the end of the day, everyone can be fired. Like right now, the NGOs, who do they go to?
No,
who do they sue?
You can't go to any.
Right now, every NGO, most of the NGOs, they suffered. They don't know have funding. So where are they going to get their compensations?
You see now. That's very true. And you can't possibly claim compensation for something that is already dead. Like,
yeah, and the NGOs were spoiled. NGOs would go to review, would actually go to just review this book in Vic Falls. Or even go to Mauritius and you write T&S.
We still have companies that do that though. A company wants to review their strategy. They will take the executive to Victoria
Falls for 2 weeks
to do a strategy review. I think our strategy is not supposed to be reviewed in the battlefield. Maybe you use your boardroom. I think it makes more sense.
It's a way of spending money. It's a way of
why not be clear about it? Say, guys, we think you've worked. We are now taking you for a chit chat meeting in Vic Falls for 2 weeks. Let's be clear about that.
It's like those team building exercises, etc. There's no team building to talk about.
I wish the executives knew the kind of expectation that lies with the employees that retain. Because we told, the executive have gone to Vic Falls to strategize.
Exactly.
When they come back, we are expecting something. Wow. But then you see it's the same old thing.
It's even worse.
And even worse now. And I've always wondered, especially after I ventured into entrepreneurship and running my own business, I thought to myself, why do we maintain the same work routine in a fluctuating economy? Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
When things are going well, we want to work from 8 to 5.
When things
When
are
things
bad,
are bad, we still want to work 8 to 5.
that's why now
And expect the same
results.
outcome.
You see, that's where my point is. We really know that whether you are political or you're not, the truth is things are not normal.
True.
Not only in Zimbabwe, in Africa, things are not normal. If you go to Zambia right now, do you know that Zambia, as we speak, it has got some of the lowest salaries? I've interviewed a lot of people, and the range of salaries in Zambia, you can get a bookkeeper, you can get an accounts clerk for something like 4,000 kwacha,
How much is that
4,500.
in
It's less than $200.
You don't say.
I'm telling you.
Wow. It's bad.
And even if you're going to a chef, you can recruit a chef for. I still remember when we were recruiting a chef, she actually wanted 1,500 kwacha, which is less than $100. But we had to increase it. Yeah, what I just want to say is, in Africa, we don't have a country where everything is normal.
But
the problem now is, as we are going down and down and down, the more we will even want to rest. The more we even want our rights. The more we even want to celebrate Workers' Day. How do you celebrate Workers' Day when there's no work? Come on, Steve.
You know,
I was surprised on 1 May. And
we're coming from a chain of holidays.
And we're coming from Easter. And people are celebrating Workers' Day. And they want rights increase of salaries. Where did they come from?
Okay. You know what? I think conversations like these, they begin to make sense to people who look and quantify their expenses on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Let's say you are a business. You are operating at a place, say you pay $300 a month, right? Don't look at your expenses at the end of the month to say our rent is $300. Look at your rent on a daily basis to say, by just spending a day at the office, you've already been cost $10.
$10.
Have you done something that generates the $10? No. So for every day that you're out of office, it's a $10 that is going to waste, build, but not utilized. So if we think in terms of daily expenses, or even to make things interesting, think of your expenses on an hourly basis, or your income rather. Let's say if you are going to be earning $300 per month, that's $10 per day. You are there to make, let's say for argument's sake, 10 hours a day. That means you are getting paid $1 an hour. So what are you doing productively at work for that hour to earn that dollar?
That's my whole point.
Those are the conversations we really need to have as Africans.
And people don't want, especially our employees in Africa. I wonder if these employees, especially the people who debate with me on my Facebook or on my TikTok, because the question is, you've spent 8 hours at work. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You were there, you showed up, your face, everything was there. But the question is, what did you produce?
Yes, productivity.
You get it? What did you produce? Yes, you can spend 8 hours, but
Yes.
what's there? What am I paying for? End of the day. So people, they don't want to have those conversations.
They
And
don't.
What we're simply saying is, these conversations mustn't be made in private companies only. It must be made in city councils, government level, to say, yes, I've been a minister for 5 years, but what have you done?
Yes.
Show us what you've done.
What you've done,
Your
yeah.
tenure. What have you produced? People are not willing to have those conversations. They still want their packs. They still want their benefits just because he was occupying an office.
So I was watching this video. There's this Afrikaans guy from South Africa. He's into the trucking business, the trucking industry, logistics. I was fascinated by how uneasy he was because one of his trucks was parked by the roadside because of a puncture. So he was saying, I'm losing money. And I'm wondering, how are you losing money? Your code, the stuff that you're carrying, what do you call it? The luggage, is it called luggage? Yes. It's intact in the truck. The truck is parked, no one is robbing it or whatever. It's just parked by the roadside, waiting for roadside assistance. He was saying, no, each time the truck is parked unintentionally, I'm losing money. Why? Because he had calculated the time it takes for the driver to go from point A to point B and return to pick up another load. So if he then spends more time than intended, he's losing money.
Exactly.
And I was marveled because we don't think in those terms.
But the driver is there and he's saying, no, my shift is actually moving.
Yes.
If he's going to spend 2 days, he's actually saying, I'm expecting to be paid 2 days. But was there any production?
Nothing. I think the moment we grow up and realize that Africa, it's a special needs child, we shouldn't treat ourselves like the Americans, the Asians, and whatnot.
But they're way up.
They're ahead
of us.
Have you seen the American calendar and how many holidays? There's so many holidays. They can afford to do that.
Yeah.
But in Africa,
we cannot do that.
I think
we cannot close the whole country for 1 month like what Chinese do during their New
Chinese New Year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they also deserve that because they will be working.
They'll be working, yeah.
Us will be busy on social media.
At least I'm happy that we've got a gallant soldier in Africa, Captain Ibrahim, who's taken matters into his own hands to say, you know what, these people are running down the country. Let me show you how the country is run.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been doing some interesting things in his country, and I'm actually surprised by the amount of progress he's made in the short space of time. But then if you look at their birthday from independence and what has been achieved by the presidents who were there's virtually nothing compared to what is achieved in the short period. So to me, it's no longer a question of if Africans can. It's a question of when are Africans willing to start, because we are able to do this thing.
Yeah. Like what you're rightfully saying, I think the status is only 37, the youngest president in Africa, and he's also a soldier.
Yeah,
and
he's always wearing the.
Yeah. So why I like him, and he was actually with our president in Russia.
Okay.
For their 80, is it called victory celebration?
Yeah, victory celebration. Yeah.
In Russia, and to me, when you look at young people are the hope of Africa. And when you see a young person who's saying, I'm not interested in packages, I'm not interested in expensive clothes, I'm not interested in expensive suits, I'm not interested in expensive motorcade. Actually, his motorcade is very old. He drives, he's being driven in an army truck. But what I like him the most, I think he has managed to make Africa see what was actually missing. I think we had Malema in South Africa, but unfortunately Malema failed or is still failing to govern South Africa. But when you look at Traore now, he's the president and is bringing new measures, fired France. That's what he started.
That was very bold.
He moved out of ECOWAS, these fake organizations in Africa, which are sponsored by the Americans themselves as well. So that was very bold. And they actually said, we can do it with our minerals. We have got our own minerals. We can fund our education with our minerals. We can buy tractors with our minerals. We can do things with our own resources.
And guess how the Americans reacted to that?
They want to kill him.
I was shocked when I heard that there was an assassination attempt on his life.
Several times. I think there are 22 of them since they took power. 22.
But why? For the why?
22, but this one was more popular because it was a high-profile one, which happened last month.
The U.S. general, right?
Exactly. So, but when you look at it now, it's sad because when you look at those people, these are the people who are supposed to give us hope. Exactly. These are the people who are supposed to say these are the African heroes. Not to say other African presidents are not doing anything. Probably they're doing their own fights, but probably silently. We don't know. But the issue with him is saying he's walking the talk, and these people loves him, and they actually say Thomas Sankara is back.
Wow.
In Burkina Faso, and he has changed a lot of things. So to me, I strongly think that vibe is needed in Africa. We need those kind of people like Muammar Gaddafi, people like Robert Mugabe, people like the people who can change the status quo. People who say, when everyone is saying The 99 are saying you are wrong, but you're still saying I'm correct.
Exactly.
Those are the people who are needed in Africa. Africans, we are
Absolutely.
sleeping. And the more we are sleeping, the more we will continue to be exploited. Like what's happening in DRC, minerals are being taken. There's always wars because they want to exploit, take all the minerals. But if we unite as Africans, if we work hard, if we abolish these weekends and holidays, I even wonder who said Saturday and Sunday must rest. When you're broke,
it's a borrowed idea. It's a borrowed idea.
Who said we work from Monday to Friday, then Saturday and Sunday we rest?
It's a borrowed idea. It's a Western concept.
But we just grab everything and you don't filter.
I was actually surprised to learn that in America they start work at 9. Not 7, not 8. 9 o'clock. You know, 9 o'clock. I'm trying to think. 9 o'clock. It's already, because I normally wake up at 4. It's already like 5
hours after.
Later.
Yeah.
Then someone is starting.
But if you look at these guys now, when they start at 9, they are at work at 9. And they're really working.
Yeah.
Actually, now we can get into the offices at 8.
Yes.
But I tell you, they're almost 4 hours, which would be, okay, what is, this guy has broken English. What, you laugh and you like. But when these guys in modern countries, they are working the way culture is different. The way they also see things is different. They can even switch off their phones to pay attention to whatever they are doing. So I don't know. Even if you look at their music, look at their sports, everything is measured, everything is calculated. There's some seriousness into it.
You know what? As you're saying, I'm actually going through the normal routine of a typical employee in Africa or in Zimbabwe. They get to work at 8. So 8 to 9, this is where they connect to the work's Wi-Fi and then start checking out their social media, updating their status. Yeah. And you know, Africans, we like taking pictures. When we put on a new outfit at home, we take pictures. So they now use the company's Wi-Fi to download and post them, right? Then 9 to 10, they do some bit of serious work in that hour. Then 10, they're already looking for tea. Yes. Then after breakfast, they're now connecting with their own dues now to say, hey, this person was supposed to give me money and they're now trying to organize meetings for lunch. And then they go for lunch. And then after lunch, they're now considering going home. Some are even now downloading movies to watch later at home, you know. And then the day is done like that.
Some they don't. If you're working for city council, sometimes you start with eating salad. You can make.
Those guys are legends. Those guys are legends. You know they they get a job card to come and fix a road section, maybe that is filled with potholes, because there are multiple complaints from the neighbors. The first thing that they do when they get on site, they start cooking salad because they have to eat first.
But let us talk about the pothole which is in Samura Masha.
Wait.
There's a legendary pothole which is just here. I think it's now 6 to 7 months now.
I know two potholes.
I know the one which is between Package and Baghdad House.
Ish. When was it opened? Was it not opened
6-7 months
last
ago.
year in
6-7 months
September?
ago, yeah. Before rain season.
Yeah.
And it's still open.
To this day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no...
You know something which is boring now is...
Yeah.
The city council will come and say, pay some levies.
Yeah, and they do building inspections. They come and knock office by office.
And they even close.
Yes. They've got their chains and locks.
Yeah.
They will lock you out.
So that's what now we see, and that's where the disparity is. Mm-hmm. When we're now saying, we look at people like our young Traore and say, he's doing good, and that's why probably he's now loved, he's now the hero of Africa. Mm-hmm. It's because of all those kind of things to say, if we've got all these people, what are they really doing? Mm-hmm. Service provision. Mm-hmm. If I pay for I want my beans to be removed, are they being removed? That's what we are saying.
Those are the questions.
To me, when I'm talking about corruption or talking about work ethic, to me, it's not only people, they like pointing fingers at the government, but it has to start from the private sector itself.
True.
City council, city fathers, up to the government. Everyone is supposed to be working hard for the country to be where it is.
So what can we say in conclusion? What can we say about our work ethic as Africans and what we need to do?
To me, I'll first start by mentioning what was said by John F. Kennedy.
Okay.
Stop asking what stop asking what the country can do for you, and start asking yourself what you can do for your country. So real culture starts with me and you. It starts with me. It starts. I can set a tone. We can be revolutionary when we come and work and toil during weekends.
Yes.
When we say we've not met a target, when we are willing to extend our own hours, when we are willing to work hard for us to have the continent or the Africa which we dream of. So personally, I don't blame my president. I don't blame politicians. But what I blame, I have to start myself. I have to start walking the talk.
True.
Going out, work very hard. Make sure that I'm also employing one or two people from the streets. If I start setting the tone, sometimes I always believe that sometimes you don't have to even occupy a political office to be influential. You don't have. You can be a leader without a title.
Yes.
Some people can just follow what you are doing. I've met a lot of people. Just last week, I had 2 business people actually said, every day we follow what you say, and we are implementing it, and it's bringing results. Hence, I'm even employing 50 people. So that's what you call a revolution. Sometimes it doesn't have to. It starts in slow motion. People can even attack you. Sometimes when you want to liberate these Africans, they'll start by attacking you.
Yes.
Because they want to stay in the comfort zone. People they don't see. I tell you, if we continue on this path, the next 5 years, I tell you, more than 100% that the people who are unemployed right now, the figure will be double. Most of these companies would have actually closed.
That's very true. And I would like also to borrow the words from Professor Lumumba, our Professor Lumumba from Africa.
Professor Plo.
Yes. He was saying, when I fight for Africans, I fight using one hand. And he was asked why. And he said, the other hand is fighting, the one hand is fighting the enemy, the genuine enemy. And then the other hand is fighting the same Africans that I'm fighting for.
Exactly.
I'm pushing them back so that I can fight the real enemy.
Exactly. There's a guy, shout out to Dumisani Lingamangali Ncube. He's from Zambia.
Oh, and this time he's very serious with his Africa Must Think. He's doing a country-wide walk.
From Congo to Zimbabwe. Wow. And I'm following it every day.
Wow.
And shout out to you, my brother.
I can't wait for him
keep on doing what you're doing. But guess what?
Yeah.
As he's walking, he has got cars which are also escorting him. Obviously, he's got medics, he's walking, he's got his team, media team, etc. So some of them are in cars because they're not the ones who are supposed to be walking. Guess what they're now saying on social media, the Zambians themselves? He's not walking. The only time he's walking, that's when he's actually on live. You see? So how can this guy runs a successful business. Yes. I know him. Yes. He runs a successful business. How can a guy actually take a woman? Because remember, this is a woman.
Yes.
And he's working for a woman.
Yes.
Acting.
Wow.
Huh? Just pretending, living your whole business.
Now that you've said it doesn't make
Africans, sense. The people who start condemning you are not even Americans.
Yeah. Huh? It's the Africans.
When Americans, they see talent in you, do you know what they do? They'll actually take you and give you citizenship.
True. I was looking at this is very funny. It has to be the funniest thing. You know how Asians are very good with mathematics? I was looking at one time when the American Olympic team won the mathematics competition.
And they're all Chinese.
That was the most hilarious thing I've seen.
You look at France.
Yeah.
Africans. But us Africans, I cannot support Steve. I cannot support. I just when I was just peeping through my Facebook, I saw people debating that someone actually said Madam Boss, Lorraine. I think there was also a comedian called Mama V.
Mama V, yeah.
He was actually saying, I've met these celebrities and they're humble.
Uh-huh.
So the whole comment section, it wasn't about being humble. It was about, are they celebrities? Are you getting it?
So they shift the dynamic of the conversation.
The conversation.
And
And it was now about, is she a celebrity?
the validity.
So the question now is, I think we hate ourselves as people.
Mhm.
Eh? So if you think Madam Boss is not a celebrity, it doesn't mean that I have to like you to be a celebrity.
True.
So your definition of a celebrity is someone becomes a celebrity if he's not Zimbabwean.
Mhm.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Like right now, whether you like it or not, say Wikino is a celebrity.
Yes, he is.
Whether you like it or not, Madam Boss is a celebrity. Whether you like it or not, Lorraine Gu is a celebrity. But the question now is, just because no,
Yes,
this one we
Zimbabwean.
grew up together
He
and
can't
we
be a
used to eat,
celebrity.
we can eat salsa together, so he cannot be a celebrity. But
Yeah.
right now, if we just say Makadzi, wow,
A
she's now a celebrity.
Yeah.
So
You know, we've got our own. We've got our own Max Wachukumputso. I don't want to get much into the authenticity of his technology, but I was disturbed to realize that the people who were tearing him apart, they're Africans.
you always have an African. Even right now, I strongly believe that if you go to South Africa, the guy who is going to rob you, 99% is Zimbabwe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this episode of this podcast. Please make sure that you're subscribed, you share the video, and you interact with us in the comment section. Wherever we hit a nerve, please do interact with us in the comment section so that we can also prepare for the next episode. Otherwise, from me to you, it's a goodbye.